Welcome to the Clark Connection podcast. We have a great show for you here today. Super excited to get things going. We've got one of very special guest who also is one of our sponsors of the show, Bobbie Stockwell with the Comfy Quest. Excited to have her on. She's going to talk more about craniosacral therapy. Super excited about that. Also, that can't continue going on without thanking my other sponsor, that Wayne with 7K Metal Associates. That if you are looking to protect your wealth and create generational wealth through gold and silver, make sure to reach out to Wayne with 7K Metal Associates. You can find all of his information right there in the description. Click on that link, call that number. He's awesome. He will help you out. And so without further ado, let's get on over to Bobbie.
This is the Clark Connection Podcast, your weekly dose of inspiration and power. We'll dive deep into the stories and strategies that ignite personal growth and entrepreneurial fire. Join us as we empower you to take control, level up your leadership, and build the life you deserve. Get ready to rise, to thrive, and to finally become the leader of your own destiny. Let's go.
Alrighty, and welcome to the show. Special guest we got on with us, Bobbie Stockwell with a Comfy Quest LLC. Great to have you on, Bobbie.
It's great to be here, Aaron. How you doing?
I am doing excellent, girl. Any better than I'd be twins, and then I could not stand myself. And so Bobbie is a massage therapist who does craniosacral therapy. And so tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do, Bobbie.
Yep. I am a massage therapist and I work in Baton Rouge in the central area. And I enjoy doing lots of different modalities, but my favorite modality of the things that I do as a massage therapist is craniosacral therapy.
And just for the listeners who may not know, when you say a modality, what do you mean by modality?
So in massage therapy, there are lots of different areas that you can specialize. For massage therapy, if you want to go get a massage, you can ask for a Swedish massage, which is a nice, relaxing massage. And then there's other things like going in for deep tissue or myofascial. And so modalities are different ways to approach the body work.
Okay, so just different type of massages that one may get.
Yes.
Awesome. And so how did you get into craniosacral therapy?
Back in the 90s, the early 2000s, I was living in Florida and a friend told me about it. And so I thought, you know what, I'll go give this a try. And I fell in love with it. And it was such a relaxing, non-invasive type massage, but yet it was extremely effective for the problems that I was having at the time.
And then for those of us that I know what it is, that just because I've had you perform it on me. Awesome, by the way, my favorite one to get. But what exactly does craniosacral therapy do?
Well, craniosacral therapy is different from traditional massage because massage is usually focusing on the muscles in the body. And with craniosacral therapy, it's more of looking at the body as a whole. And what it does is it tries to encourage the body to do what it's meant to do anyway, and that's heal itself and be in a more relaxed state. And so, what craniosacral therapy does is it just encourages the body to do what it's naturally supposed to do anyway.
I'm glad you said that was to get into a relaxed state, because I was going to ask, well, what is the body supposed to do?
Yeah.
um, and so, you started in the early 2000s in Florida. what transpired to happen to get you actually to want to be able to do this for other people?
Well, I retired from my job. I was a flight attendant for 24 years. And when I retired, I knew that I wanted to pursue craniosacral therapy just because of the experiences that I had, and I wanted to share that with others. And so, in order to study craniosacral therapy, you need to be, or to perform craniosacral therapy on someone, you need to be licensed in some fashion. So nurses, OTs, PTs, doctors, massage therapist, um, and the list goes on. But so I had to go and get my massage therapy license, and then I was able to study craniosacral therapy and start working on others.
Okay. And so now would you say is that's the fastest route to get there is going to become a licensed massage therapist?
It was for me, yes.
Okay, but maybe not for everybody else. Like if you were already a registered nurse or a licensed practical nurse, you could
Right.
go straight into this.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So it's not something that's strictly related to
Massage
massage
therapy.
therapy. All
No.
right. Did not know that. That's pretty cool to know. And so if you knew anybody who was looking to get into it, like how would you recommend like if I were to try to do it, how would you recommend for me to get into because I don't have any of those other things.
Become a massage therapist would probably be the fastest way to get into doing craniosacral therapy.
Okay. And so where would I go to even find that somewhere like to become a massage therapist? Can I just like
There are massage therapy schools. The one I went to is here in Baton Rouge, at the Medical Training College, and that's where I studied to be able to take my test to become a licensed massage therapist.
oh cool, cool. And now on the craniosacral, I know running your own business, that's got to have some other stressors and frustrations, but like wanting to really stay on it, like whenever you're doing the craniosacral therapy, like what exactly, if you were to describe it to people, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Like how does that work?
Well, with craniosacral therapy, usually when someone comes in and they know that that's what we're going to be doing, it's something that you normally stay completely fully clothed, and it's a very gentle touch. There's not a lot of pressure or weight. It's about the pressure that I'm giving is usually about the weight of a nickel. So it's very gentle pressure, and it's going throughout the body and feeling the rhythm of your spinal fluid. And so just like our breath, you can feel it, you can even see your breath, but also if you want to feel, you can feel your heart pulse, your heart rate. And so it's the same with your spinal fluid. And so what the spinal fluid does is it bathes the cranial nerves. And so the nervous system basically just innervates everything in your body. And so what the rhythm lets me know what I'm feeling for is that rhythm, and it's such a subtle rhythm. But once I'm able to feel it, I can go throughout. There's certain areas of the body and the head that I can touch, and I can feel where there's some inconsistency in that rhythm. And so then usually I work with the body to see what's going on and help relieve whatever tensions they may have acquired.
Also, and so when you said we're touching different parts of the body, it's like where all are you touching to try to feel this how did you say it, spinal fluid rhythm?
Basically, from your head to your toes, I can feel that rhythm. And so there are certain listening stations that we go to feel that rhythm.
All right. And so where would I be like where could I expect if I was brand new to this? Like where
Brand
could I expect to for you to be touching?
Sure. Your head, your shoulders, your ribs, even your hip bones, knees, legs, feet.
Okay, so a lot of your major joints is what
Yes,
you're looking for and so
yes,
on and so forth.
yes.
Gotcha. And so basically it sounds like that you're looking to see you can tell that touch based off of something going on in like the head or something that there might be something off in the foot. Like how are you going about determining like where what needs uh help, what needs that to be shown attention? That's the word I was looking for, attention.
Yeah, so whenever I'm going through and feeling that rhythm, I'm looking for symmetry within that rhythm. I'm looking for quality. Is it nice and smooth, or is it kind of rickety. Um, and so and also just the quality of it and the rate, I'm looking for if it's really fast or if it's going slow and sluggish. And so those are things that I'm looking for and feeling for. And so if the rhythm's off in any way, it's an indication to let me know that there is tension in that area of the body.
Okay, and so how do you go about getting the rhythm back in? How would you know, hey, I need to stay here, or like how do you go about doing that?
Well, and that's what's kind of interesting about this is I'm not necessarily doing it to you. I'm just working with your body to do it what it's supposed to do. So whereas as a massage therapist, I'll go in and if, I feel knot, so to say, or a trigger point in, say, your trap, where most of us carry trigger points. I know to go in, and there are certain areas where I can go and apply pressure to help relieve those trigger points. Well, with cranial sacral therapy, it's more of finding that rhythm, working with that rhythm, and waiting for, say, your body to relieve that tension or have a release, is what we call it. And so it's not necessarily going in and just going, oh, okay, your trap hurts, so we're going to touch your trap. And so it's more of, it's not me, it's actually you. I have to listen to whoever's body I'm dealing with to know what's going on. Because, some people, well, actually, several people that I've helped have come in and they have a headache or a migraine. And so their migraine might be originating from their neck or from somewhere else in their body. And so just because someone comes in and says, hey, I'm having a migraine, that doesn't let me know exactly where I need to go, because there are many reasons for migraines. It could be created in the head, it could be created in the neck, or anywhere else in the body. And so I have to listen to where the body needs me to pay attention to so that it can relax and relieve that tension. So then hopefully it releases that migraine headache.
Yeah. And speaking of, I know that was one of the things that got me when I originally would come to you was I struggled with the migraines as well. Was going trying to do massage therapy and seeing other people that just trying to get relief. And I know when you told me about this originally, you were like, hey, Aaron, I got something. I think it'll work. You want to try it? And basically, it's like me just doing like this to you. And I was like, there ain't no way this is gonna work. I said, there's no way, but you know what? I'm having these suckers 2 and 3 times a month. I'll try anything. And I remember laying there, and about an hour later, you go, all right, you can go. And I was like, that didn't do anything for me. There's no way. I'm so glad that I didn't pay anything for that. And then the next morning, I woke up sore as all get out and was like, oh my goodness. What did she do to me? And you were like, well, your body was really out of whack, Aaron. And then I think it was like the next week, like I had another migraine like later that week, and then came back. I said, well, let's try it one more time. And that ever since then, that I hadn't had one. I'm trying to remember. Was that December of 22 or 21? It was. When did you first start doing this?
Started doing it in 21, so I think it was in later
Yeah.
that year of 21 because I immediately started taking the cranial sacral classes once I finished school, massage school. So yeah.
So yeah, I remember that because I was like, there ain't no way this is working. But I mean, even noticing the difference in how, from playing football, that was that one thing. Coaching, you're constantly up and you was moving around, and in drills, like my hips don't hurt like they used to hurt. Just that to the point where this is like my favorite thing to do. I come back once a month because I want to make sure I don't get those again. It is money well spent to make sure I'm not down 2 and 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
And so I know from getting to know you that this wasn't your first entrepreneurial venture. What tell everybody about? I know you had something else that you did first. What were you doing before you ended up coming back down here?
I was a motel owner, and so up in the mountains, and it was a great opportunity. Uh, so I guess you could say I was an innkeeper.
An innkeeper, yes. And uh, quite the location as well. The beautiful spot you had.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah.
And so just going from doing, you also, I think you were telling me at the time you were doing uh, the inn and still working for as a flight attendant,
Yeah.
and then moving in now to pretty much your own boss. Like, what are some things that you've learned? Like, what would you say has been the biggest learning curve as far as that moving in and becoming your own boss?
Probably the most important lesson I've learned is how important it is to network with other people
Mm.
and get to know other people within this industry, to have feedback and just lean on other people to give you great, tips, ideas. Um, so networking.
The networking, and then what would you say? Oh, how like as far as like setting your own schedule or anything like that? How was that as far as that? Was there anything that you had to learn that to set time or anything like that? Like what would you say was your biggest struggle outside of? I'm assuming networking was might have been a struggle, but I don't taking that for granted when I say it.
Sure, sure. It is a challenge. But what was probably the most challenging thing? Um, Having patience to realize that it takes a while to establish repeat clientele. So that's probably been the hardest thing to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and so how would you help somebody else to learn that way they didn't have to go through and learn that mistake of or go through if they're dealing with those struggles? How do you help somebody else that may be getting started as they want to do the craniosacral therapy?
Well, perhaps also going and maybe working if you want to work by yourself, that's great. But also you could go and for a small while work for someone else. That might help to build skills and to learn what it is that you want to do. Because not everyone initially knows exactly what they want to do. And sometimes working for someone first helps you get an idea of what you want to do because they'll give you more experiences than you would get just by going out on your own. But I think because one, my age, and two, my experiences. I already knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted my focus to be.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And now where would I find a craniosacral school? Like where do I go about and yeah, well, where would I go with I'll ask my next question next.
Well, I learned through the Upledger Institute, and they're based out of Florida, but they also go around the country and actually worldwide and teach classes. They've had one here in Baton Rouge before. They had one here recently, not too long ago in New Orleans. But you can go anywhere they have a class, and you can look on their website, and you can find locations to go and take the different classes that they offer.
And you
And they
said that's
offer,
the Upledger Institute.
yes, yep.
Okay. And so how did craniosacral therapy come about? Like how did somebody who just discovered it, how did they know, hey, this would actually work?
Well, it was discovered in the late 1800s, I believe, by Dr. Sutherland. But Dr. John Upledger, who started the Upledger Institute, he was the one who really pioneered it. And he went to help a fellow doctor perform a surgery. And while he was helping, that was when he actually witnessed the rhythm, which, was most unusual. And so that's what really started him to investigate the craniosacral rhythm even more and work with it. And so he created this incredible institute for teaching craniosacral therapy.
That's cool. Um, and so I didn't realize it had been around that long,
Mhm.
since the late 1800s. That's really cool. And
Well, now the schooling has only been around since the 70s. And
okay,
so, yeah.
okay, so the theory kind of came about in the late 1800s. Schooling didn't really start until about the 1970s.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Dr.
okay.
John Epledger, he was the one who really made it what it is today.
Yeah, and I'm personally grateful because of how well I know what it's done for me. Has been amazing. And I do know a couple other people that are, and so I highly recommend it to any and everybody if they're looking, if they're struggling with migraine. I tell everybody, if you've got migraines, like go get this. The craniosacral therapy is the hands. It's my favorite, and I was always deep tissue. Get in there, that, but man, since you've showed me that, it was like, wow, this truly is amazing. And so if somebody's looking to get that craniosacral therapy, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, I am a Comfy Quest, and they can contact me at my number, which is 225-773-0307. And just so that everyone knows that craniosacral isn't just limited to migraines, it helps with all types of things, post-concussion, um, fibromyalgia, TMJ, scoliosis, so lots of other things. And so it just really helps the body to relieve the tensions that it maybe could have been holding on to for years. So,
Yes. And I will
yeah.
say it is one of the best naps I get once a month. I sitting there because I keep saying I'm gonna stay awake every time. And when my body just hits that relax, it's just like and I'm out. So and I will concur. the other reliefs, the pain. Used to have a lot of joint pain just from the old athletic days, and not so much anymore. It's been awesome. And so what was that phone number again? How do they get in touch with you?
Yep, my number's 225-773-0307.
Awesome. And I'm also, that's going to be in the description below. I'll put all of her contact information down there so you can get in touch with Bobbie with the Comfy Quest, who is also one of our sponsors. Definitely give her a call. Tell her Coach Clark sent you, and she's given a 10% discount. So make sure you mention me, and she will get you in. Well, Bobbie, I appreciate you coming on to the Clark Connection podcast. This has been a blast. And anything else you want to tell the folks before we hop off?
No, thank you for having me, Aaron. It was great being here.
Yep, my pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
What a great episode that was, and being able to talk to Bobbie and learn more about craniosacral therapy. And I don't know about you, but I got a page full of notes, and I thought it was really cool to learn that the spinal fluid has its own rhythm in the body that can be felt. And that's what we're doing here with craniosacral therapy. It's just trying to help your body get back to homeostasis, get back to its relaxed stage. And it was so cool to be able to learn all of that with Bobbie, and things that she'd mentioned that it's good for. If you're experiencing migraines, go get you a craniosacral therapy session. The fibromyalgia, concussions, chronic pain, those are huge, huge, huge. And I know she's in on some research projects right now as well that we didn't go over in the episode. But that's what craniosacral therapy is it's just helping your body get back to where it needs to be, getting back and allowing it to do what the body does. Super grateful to have Bobbie on here. Other things that we learned throughout here, and I thought it was really cool for those of you who are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, that even just leaders in general, that was talking about the importance of networking. She talked about how important it was for her to learn how to network and build her network of people. And it's one thing that I've said for years is that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so the more people you know, the more your chances are of being successful. And the other thing she said with building that business is be patient. Be patient. It's hard to build a business. It's hard to do that. And so make sure you're patient with that. And so, guys, that with all of this, remember, go show love for Bobbie. Look, if you hit her up, all of her stuff is in the description below. Hit her up, and tell her I told you to come. Tell her Coach Clark sent you, that she's giving you a 10% discount on your services. Another one that she does is manual lymphatic drain, and look, it is phenomenal. That it really helps boost your immune system, and it just kind of clears it out. It keeps it in cycle. It's really, 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 really good. It's another one that I enjoy. Those are her two specialties: craniosacral and manual lymphatic drainage. Awesome, awesome, awesome for you and your health. But go hit her up, hit the other sponsors up. And look, if you're looking for any other services, if you're wanting, I told you we're about leadership, personal growth, and you're an aspiring entrepreneur, hit me up. All of my information is in the contact and the description. All of my contact information is in the description below. Hit me up. I would love to help you as you get started or continue going on your leadership or personal growth journey. I appreciate you guys hopping on, and I will see you next time on the Clark Connection Podcast. Thanks for listening to the Clark Connection Podcast, where my goal is to add value to you. Make sure you like and follow the show. You can also connect with me via my website, coachaclark.com, or on all socials at coach_A_Clark. The links are in the description. Huge thanks to my sponsors, Wayne with 7K Metal Associates, Bobbie at A Comfy Quest LLC, and Andrew at Automate Integrate Professional Services. We look forward to bringing you more great content. See you next week.